This evening, first up, heavy loads, heavier fines. The government rolls out strict new regulations for trucks exceeding 15 tons per axle. Minister Juan Edghill warns, break the limit, lose your wheels, plus driving development forward. President Irfaan Ali tours the Aubrey Barker to Ogle Highway, promising completion before year's end and a smooth ride across Georgetown. Also, clean water for every classroom. More than 58,000 students to benefit under Project Flow, a 4-year plan to install solar-powered purification systems in schools nationwide. Meanwhile, healing through partnership. The Qatar Red Crescent medical convoys arrive in Guyana, bringing top surgeons and specialists to boost healthcare and train local doctors. And overseas, hate crimes on the rise. New data from UK's Home Office reveals a surge in attacks targeting minorities after months of unrest and anti-immigrant protests. Those stories and more coming up on Headline News Update. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for October 10, 2025. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, the government has approved new regulations restricting trucks exceeding a 15-ton per axle limit from using roads and bridges across Guyana. Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edghill made the announcement on Monday, stating that the cabinet has given full approval for the enforcement of the measure aimed at safeguarding the country's infrastructure. Minister Edghill noted that 15 tons per axle will be allowed on bridges and roads across the country, adding that weigh-in-motion skills will soon be installed to detect and prevent violations. To ensure compliance, the Ministry of Public Works is also procuring 1,000 truck clamps for use by the Guyana Police Force. The minister warned that if caught with an overweight load, it's not just a ticket. Your wheels will be clamped and you will have to stay there until you discharge the excess weight. Edghill noted that overweight vehicles cause severe damage to roadways, and the cost of repairs far exceed any fines imposed on offenders. The new enforcement measures, he says, forms part of the government's broader effort to preserve the road network and enhance transportation safety nationwide. In other news, the construction on the Aubrey Barker to Ogle Highway is progressing at full speed, with the completion expected by year-end. Dale Jarvis has more on the president's latest site visit and update.
Construction is steadily progressing on the Aubrey Barker Road to Ogle Highway connection, a key infrastructure project expected to transform traffic flow and urban development in Georgetown. During a site inspection on Tuesday, President Dr. Mohammed Irfaan Ali reaffirmed that the 4-lane roadway linking Ogle to Mandela roundabout will be completed before the end of the year, providing a significant new corridor between the East Coast and Central Georgetown. This new highway connects communities from Commons Lodge, Sophia, and South Rumville, improving access and easing congestion, President Irfaan Ali stated, noting that most of the Mandela to Ogle section is already complete. The project is part of the government's East Coast East Bank Connectivity Plan, which includes multiple 4-lane roadways and expanded infrastructure design to support urban growth, industrial expansion, and housing development. President Ali added that future works will extend the 4-lane network from Ogle to Enmore, opening thousands of acres of investment and residential opportunities. The initiative forms part of the administration border infrastructure modernization program to boost national development and improve transportation efficiency across the Demerara corridor. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. More than 58,000 students across Guyana are set to benefit from improved access to clean drinking water under a new national initiative titled Project Flow, the National Water Purification and Sustainability Initiative. Launched by the Greater Guyana Initiative in partnership with the Ministry of Education and Recover Guyana, the 4-year project will install modern water purification systems in 141 public secondary schools, 10 TVEC institutions, and 4 special needs schools by 2029. The initiative promotes both education and environmental sustainability, aiming to reduce plastic waste by an estimated 25 million bottles by 2030 through the use of reusable bottles and solar-powered water systems. Over 1,500 students and teachers will receive training at STEM-related water system management to ensure the project's long-term sustainability. At the launch, ExxonMobil Guyana President Alistair Routledge said, FLOW represents an investment in sustainability and youth development. At the same time, Recover Guyana President Dr. Devendra Laltu highlighted the project's role in promoting accountability and environmental stewardship. Assistant Chief Education Officer Sherwin Blackman described FLOW as a transformative step that unites education, health, and environmental advocacy to improve student well-being. The installation of the solar-powered system is scheduled to begin in January of 2026, marking a significant milestone in Ghana's effort to create cleaner, healthier, and more sustainable learning environments. Stick around when we return. Healing Minds in Crisis. World marks Mental Health Day 2025, and Ghana partners with Qatar Red Crescent to boost specialized healthcare.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Health, in partnership with the Qatar Red Crescent Society, has launched the Qatar Red Crescent Medical Convoys Initiative, a collaborative program designed to strengthen specialized healthcare and build local medical capacity in Guyana. The initiative brings together a team of 9 specialist doctors from Qatar who will perform a series of complex medical procedures at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation. The team includes experts in pediatrics, cardiology, urology, anesthesiology, and gynecologic oncology. Over the coming days, the visiting doctors are expected to complete several procedures. All operations will be conducted using medical equipment and supplies provided by the Qatar Red Crescent team. Beyond the direct medical intervention, the mission includes a high-level roundtable discussion between the Ministry of Health, GPHC, and the Qatari delegation to explore future collaborations, training, and sustainable development in healthcare delivery. Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, expressed appreciation to the State of Qatar and the Qatar Red Crescent Society for their partnership, noting that the initiative will not only improve patient outcomes, but also enhance the skills of local healthcare professionals. This partnership marks another step towards strengthening Ghana's healthcare system, bringing world-class expertise to local hospitals while empowering medical professionals through training and collaboration. As the Qatar Red Crescent Medical Convoys begin their mission, the initiative stands as a testament to the power of international cooperation in improving lives and building a healthier future for all Guyanese. Moving on, today, October 10th, marks World Mental Health Day 2025, a global observance aimed at raising awareness and encouraging action for better mental health well-being. This year's theme, Mental Health in Humanitarian Emergencies, highlights the often overlooked psychological toll of crises such as wars, pandemics, and natural disasters. In a world increasingly shaped by conflict, climate disasters, and economic uncertainty, mental health has become a silent emergency. The World Health Organization estimates that 1 in every 8 people globally lives with a mental health condition, from anxiety and depression to post-traumatic stress. In humanitarian crises, that number spikes dramatically. Studies show that 1 in 5 people in conflict zones suffer from a mental health disorder. Expert says that beyond food and shelter, survivors urgently need psychological support to rebuild their lives. Here in Guyana, the message resonates deeply. Mental health advocates continue to call for greater investment in counseling, workplace wellness, and community outreach, especially as more people face stress related to rising living costs, social media pressures, and post-pandemic adjustments. Workplace stress remains another major concern, with excessive workloads, low pay, and job insecurity fueling burnout and depression. Since its observance in 1992, World Mental Health Day has grown into a movement, reminding us that mental health is not a luxury, but a universal right. As the world reflects on this year's theme, the call is clear. Even in times of crisis, mental health care must be part of the response because healing the mind is just as vital as rebuilding lives. Don't go away after the break. Afghan women's rights. UN says Taliban restrictions create rights crisis. And momentous breakthrough. Trump touts ceasefire deal in wake of agreement.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Trinidad and Tobago has received U.S. approval to resume negotiations on developing Venezuela's Dragon gas field. The 6-month OFAC license allows Trinidad, NGC, and partners like Shell to engage with Caracas. The project, delayed by U.S. sanctions since 2019, aims to bolster Trinidad's energy supply. Hate crimes are on the rise in England and Wales, according to figures released by the UK's Home Office. Al Jazeera's Rory Chance reports.
Peacehaven Mosque has been mostly empty this week. Worshippers are scared by what happened here on Saturday night.
2 men, they sprayed petrol outside the building at the door, and we called the emergency services. They managed to stop the fire and save this building. It's absolutely huge shock, not just for myself, the whole community is in shock. It does worry us, security, I don't feel secure.
Why do you think this happened?
I think one of the biggest factors really is what's going on politically in this country. You can see all the demonstrations, anti-Muslim or anti-foreigner demonstrations are happening.
What happened here is no isolated case. Official figures just released show that recorded hate crimes in England and Wales are increasing. Against Muslims, they're up 19%. And although against Jewish people, they're recorded as down 18%, that doesn't include London. And the previous year's figures that did were up 113%. A week ago, a British Syrian man attacked Jews at a synagogue in Manchester. 2 people were killed before police shot dead the attacker. Jewish communities, listing the frequent minor verbal and physical assaults they say they endure, have long feared worse attacks were coming. Rabbi Herschel Gluck leads Shomrim, an organisation protecting Jewish neighbourhoods in North London.
Sadly, there are people in society who feel that they are on the margins of society. And instead of working to improve their situation, they blame the others. They blame the immigrants. They blame the minorities. They blame whoever they can blame.
There's certainly been no shortage of blaming immigrants and minorities recently. Anti-asylum seeker riots erupted in the summer outside hotels housing them. And more than 100,000 people marched through central London on a far-right protest a month ago. Israel's war on Gaza has also fanned tensions.
I think the issue of Islamophobia predates what we've seen in the Middle East. Clearly, what the Home Office figures are illustrating is that this trend has not abated for nearly a decade now. But certainly the events in Gaza have exacerbated the situation back at home and has had an impact on the rise of Islamophobic hate crime.
The founders of Peacehaven Mosque point to the support they've had from the state and the wider community, Christian, Jewish and secular, and warn that the unchecked hatred of a few doesn't just hurt victimised minorities, it hurts the whole country. Rory Challens, Al Jazeera, East Sussex, England.
Since returning to power more than 4 years ago in Afghanistan, the Taliban government has been gradually restricting the working rights of women. Al Jazeera's Rob McBride reports.
At this workshop in Kabul, interns are learning the skills they hope will provide them with a living in a workforce where being female immediately puts you at a disadvantage. Increasingly marginalized in Afghan society and restricted from doing a large number of jobs, sewing is one trade where women can work freely.
It is challenging for us as women face many obstacles when leaving their homes. However, thanks to the support of the Chamber of Commerce and the Ministry of Commerce, we are still able to work freely.
The Taliban government defends its restrictions, saying they're in line with Islamic principles. But even making a success from the garment trade has become harder recently. In spite of handicrafts and garments being one of the few areas where women can thrive, even these businesses have become tougher, with women now banned from exhibitions and clothes shows. It all contributes to what the UN describes as currently one of the world's worst women's rights crises. Sahiba Akrami has turned to technology to help reach her markets, selling products online to customers throughout Europe and Asia.
Online business has become the best option for Afghan girls, especially now that so many opportunities are blocked for them in our society. Many girls are earning an income through online sales.
But the recent blackout of all internet services across Afghanistan came as a shock to her and other online entrepreneurs, adding just one more challenge for businesswomen already facing so many hurdles. Rob McBride, Al Jazeera, Kabul.
Israel's government has approved the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal, which will come into effect within 24 hours. Al Jazeera's Kimberly Hackett reports.
Last night we reached a momentous breakthrough in the Middle East.
Speaking before reporters in the cabinet room of the White House, U.S. President Donald Trump praised his Arab partners for securing a deal to halt Israel's war on Gaza.
So I want to express my tremendous gratitude to the leaders of Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey for helping us reach this incredible day. And I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace.
But the initial deal between Israel and Hamas is fragile. It involves the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners in exchange for 48 Israeli captives, 28 of whom are deceased. Exiled Gaza chief Khalil al-Hayya says Hamas has also received security guarantees from Turkey, Arab and U.S. mediators that Israel will halt military attacks on Gaza.
We have received guarantees from the mediating brothers and from the American administration, all of whom confirm that the war has ended completely.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised Trump.
We couldn't have achieved it without the extraordinary help of President Trump and his team, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. They worked tirelessly with Ron and his team, our team, that and the courage of our soldiers who entered Gaza and the combined military and diplomatic pressure that isolated Hamas, I think, has brought us to this point.
The U.S. president's also been invited to address the Israeli parliament, or Knesset. But on Thursday, Trump acknowledged only that he'll travel to Egypt for a symbolic signing of the initial agreement between Israel and Hamas, known as Phase 1.
White House aides argue, as a self-proclaimed deal maker,
President Trump's Phase 1 agreement between Israel and Hamas may be his biggest deal yet. Trump asserts his decision in June to strike Iran's nuclear facilities provided the momentum for the Gaza deal.
Let's say that didn't happen, they'd probably by now have a nuclear weapon, numerous nuclear weapons, and therefore, even if we signed a deal, there'd be a big dark cloud over it.
It's a deal praised by the president of Finland, who on Thursday also met with Trump.
I want to congratulate you for what we have seen in the past 24 hours in Gaza.
Thank you.
I think it's a historic deal.
It's an initial agreement White House aides believe was struck through Trump's own brand of diplomacy, using his doctrine of peace through strength, a principle he hopes will bring lasting peace to the Middle East. Kimberly Helkett, Al Jazeera, the White House.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's it to TV2 Headline News for this Friday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We will be off for the weekend, but you can tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other and do have a wonderful weekend.